Thank you.
And we're closing today's panel with Nuno Sequeira, Vice President of the Regional Core of Caucasus and a member of Mayo, Portugal. Hello, everybody. I would like to thank again for your presence here and to greet all the panelists here, especially those coming from abroad, to share with us their knowledge and their experience. I'm going to speak in Portuguese. Hopefully you're going to understand me. In this moment, we are witnessing many environmental disasters around the world. It's important to look at the mistakes made, to reflect on, and above all, to take options, more correct options for a more sustainable future on the planet. Unfortunately, more than 4 decades since environmental issues and respect for nature have taken a global dimension, the path taken has not gone completely in the right direction on our ability to know and respect the limits of the planet's sustainability has not progressed as much as necessary. Nonetheless, in a post-international economic crisis, which has led us to relegate environmental issues in the background, it is important not to forget that we're still experiencing an environmental crisis with problems as serious as global warming, but also the biodiversity loss, the exponential growth of the human population, the increased consumption and over-exploitation of natural resources. Ignoring these problems that have a direct environmental and social implication and postponing decisions that need to be taken, need to be made, will not solve the issues, but will aggravate them in the future, with the consequences for the whole planet and also for the human species that is part of the planet Earth. In the list of these problems still to be solved at the global level, there is also the problem of nuclear power. Over this and throughout its 33 years of environmental defense in Portugal, Caucasus, the association that I represent has always considered that it was fundamental to look at the whole cycle of the nuclear power so that we can better understand why the rejection of this form of energy production happens. Indeed, nuclear problems begin early with the uranium explorations, usually in the open, which cause a number of negative environmental impacts such as pollution of soils, water and air, and as well as serious health problems. In human populations in Portugal, we don't have nuclear power, we don't have exploitation of uranium, but these problems show up. There is no new building of nuclear power plants. All governments have refused and have said that it is not an option for Portugal. But the exploitation of uranium shows up in Portugal. We had the uranium exploitations 20 years ago in the center of the country, and now, 20 years after, the problems are not still completely, not even studied, not even solved. There are more than 20 uranium mines in the open that are being abandoned with no recovery measures, so they're still contaminating the surrounding areas with no solution inside yet. As measure to recover these huge environmental liabilities are hastily costly, and the country lacks financial resources to address this problem. So they are recovering 1-2 mines every year. With the exploitation of uranium, Portugal is not doing enough efforts at the level also of the nuclear power plants themselves, and despite the development of the whole security mechanisms that have happened, the dangers of this technology are still clear to see with the major accidents that have happened to this day. Accidents such as those of Chernobyl in Ukraine, 3 Mile Island in the United States, and Fukushima in Japan, they demonstrate that safety problems had not yet been overcome and that they have serious consequences. With these accidents, with thousands of people dead and much more have affected, as well as the pollution of hundreds of years of great areas around the centers. When in Portugal they say whether Spain and Portugal, if they are ready to deal with nuclear accidents in Spain, Almaraz power plants, we may say that no country is ready for a nuclear disaster. The 3 major accidents that happened in 3 of the more advanced countries about nuclear, and they had huge impacts. The destruction was so huge that this proves the risk of investing in this technology. It doesn't compensate. No country could be said to be prepared, to be ready to deal with a nuclear disaster. But the end of the nuclear cycle is not less serious and damaging to the planet and the environment. Actually, there is no stable and safe destination for our nuclear waste produced by the activity, since the waste produced remains radioactive for hundreds of thousands of years. Nor is the invoice, the cost to pay for this still known. Nuclear waste are hence a heavy legacy, a heavy burden that we will leave for the coming generations, an unconscious and responsible inheritance for the people on the planet Earth. And this inheritance also puts into questions any notion of ethics or respect for this planet. The next generation should meet this planet in the same or better conditions as we did. CACUS, the association I am a member of in Portugal, that has followed more closely this issue of nuclear power, together with the Spanish organizations, is linked to several national European organizations against the nuclear power plants, and especially the Almaraz Central. There will be a discussion tomorrow about this power plant against uranium mining. But I would like just to say that this site is located in the very near to the border with Spain, and it is a threat to the whole border region, Iberian region, after its life period of 30 years. Nonetheless, some 10 years ago, the Spanish government, in an economic crisis period, they didn't close, and they prolonged in 10 years its period of activity. Until the year 2020, and despite all the accidents that have happened, the firm holding of firms exploiting Almaraz are ready to prolong its period against our worst expectations. It would even go until 2030, which is unacceptable for us. Indeed, after the Spanish government gave its assent to the project submitted by the consortium Iberdrola and the Naturgy, which operates the Almaraz nuclear power plant, to execute and set up an individualized storage of nuclear waste near this plant, and since the companies already have submitted a request to postpone the closure of the plant, it is to expect that the Spanish government could give the authorization for the plant to continue to operate for another 8 to 10 years, thus constituting Almaraz as one of the greatest dangers for the whole Iberian Peninsula and the European continent. For us as Portuguese, it is clear that the governments dealing with this problem are showing great passivity beyond the fact of the dependency from the point of view of economic issues towards Spain, and the European governments are not battling the Spanish government. Portugal has to say that they have to be consulted about everything related to Almaraz, and above all, the Portuguese government should say very clearly to Spain that they don't want this power plant operating after 2020. We may admit a period of 2-3 years for the plant to have some dismantled plants, but not beyond 2020. So this should be one of the conclusions that may come out of this forum. More recently, Spain a project to open an open pit mine for uranium has emerged next to Retortillo, 40 kilometers away from the border. Portugal wasn't consulted about this project that is a threat for the whole peninsula. Similar to the case of the construction of individualized storage of nuclear waste near the Almaraz power plant, the Spanish government ignored the rights of Portugal and its population. They didn't consult the Portuguese population. Hence, we deem necessary that the Retortillo mine process should be reversed, and that a cross-border environmental impact assessment should be carried out to protect the rights of the citizens of Portugal and Spain, and that at the end of the process, the Spanish government should not give authorization for Retortillo. There is no doubt that this position should be legitimized and supported by all of us and have the full support of all citizens of both countries. So we think that this meeting, we should go on holding them, because they are very important to increase the rejection of uranium exploration, energy power, and Almaraz. We know that we are living in a society that is more aware about the threat of environmental issues, so it is essential that we all remain proactive and become involved with citizens in the defense of natural resources, because only this way we can continue to be strong in the claim to close nuclear power plants, because all the risks they entail, and at the end of the option for nuclear fission, which is contrary to the precautionary principle and is certainly not a future energy solution due to all the impacts to the environment and on the quality of life of population of our planet. Thank you so much.